So hi, what's up? A very good morning, 11:35 by the watch on a fantastic Saturday. A quick, you know, cheers on coffee, black coffee. I just made this, and it's just my first cup of coffee for the day. And I've been meaning to share over the last 2 days on a certain subject which I've been really thinking about and experiencing this also, and it's something which is so real. So we know that children are going to have their holidays now. The summer holidays are going to start and stuff, and children are going to be home. And now a lot of children are looking at spending time with their families, grandparents, going on holidays with their friends and stuff. And then they have certain section of children who are going to be as usual glued on to maybe their games, sports, maybe you know enjoying on computers and the techie prodigy stuff and all that. Okay, but the point is, there is a persistent section of children I find when I take a walk around in my neighborhood. Also, you get talking to them. Not everybody is having a great day or a good day, and some of them seem upset, or some of them feel alone or lonely and stuff. So there are all kinds of experiences in families, and there are all kind of experiences, all kinds of upbringings and stuff and all that. And I figured out that some of the children naturally feel low, and the moment they get seeing a dog, or the moment they meet up their friends and stuff, if they've got a good set of friends, the happiness just rubs onto them and they're out of it. Or otherwise, if they've met someone they're not very fond of, they start feeling a little low and stuff till the time they're not in a healthier spot or in a healthier space and stuff like that. So there's an article which I read 2 days back, which was in the papers, and this is talking about why children are feeling so low. Okay, so over 2.5 years and stuff, I think I've been very actively sharing and voicing out that the so-called authors, the so-called uh, world leaders, the so-called self-acclaimed psychiatrists, psychologists, and doctors and everything, which we've had on social media, thanks to the reach it has, and some people who've had let's say divorces, or who've had separations, or who've been through some sad situation in their life. They've been very actively sharing their stories and stuff, which, to be honest, I mean, at one point you do feel so sad for them, but after that you're like, I mean, one can't do anything to change their life and stuff and all that, other than wishing well and all. Okay, so it's not your task, it's not your job to kind of change people's perceptions and lives, or fix them. But you can always, for the ones you really care for and the ones who are special for you, you can always give them a helping hand and stuff. Okay, so now back to children, since they're going to have their summer holidays and stuff. Some of the children have mixed memories of their times with their grandparents and families, and some of us as adults have this so-called mixed memories, nostalgia, I would say, memories of childhood. A certain good portion of joyful ones, a certain number of painful ones, a few life-changing experiences, and of course we have the so-called routine recollections because of social media, or because of constant interaction with them, or because of looking into the albums and stuff like that. Or if you're blessed and lucky to be around your parents, in-laws, grandparents, children, cousins and stuff, you naturally visit or revisit these memories and stuff. Okay, so now a increasing number of children these days are feeling, this is what the article says, are feeling disconnected in a narrative of darkness and agony and suffering. A lot of them feel and express that life is painful, already traumatic and difficult, and the rates of self-harm and suicides have gone up and stuff and all. I mean, recently I met up with a friend of mine, and she was telling me a 24-year-old guy passed away. Okay, so one doesn't know whether it's a suicide or not, but he definitely made a call, and he was sad and lonely and stuff and all. So this was because he was actually feeling lonely, And the concern is now that when children feel low, they need a person who loves them and has a fair degree of patience and wisdom to tell them about what is happening so that they can actually come out of it, soothe themselves, and find a meaning in their experiences. So, since people are normally coming out with this, we are so busy, we are so tied up. Who's not, right? I mean, half the world, more than half the world works. If everybody starts saying that, we don't have the time, or we are so busy, or we are so caught up in our own scenarios and stuff, why the hell have children in the first place, okay? And if you've had children, you got to stop harping and talking about the lack of time and energy, because this is what the author says. Adults are so busy and fatigued to even deal with children's emotional turmoil that children are left to themselves, either with a pet, either with a peer group, or their young role models on social media that even worsen their pain and stuff, because parents are not checking what the children are up to and stuff. The result is that children keep reliving that experience, which is traumatic, and other children around them, even if it is not on social media, in the parks or other way around, will start endorsing it and keep reminding it, okay? So one must stop all of that, and you must kind of look at reality in a way that you got to focus on, I feel so, the simple joys of life and stuff. You know, being together, no matter how not so amazing it is, but there's always something amazing in being together, and the author says life continues to feel dark and people keep focusing, especially these parents or these couples or the psychologists or the doctors keep focusing on trauma, misery and pain. Grandchildren are roped in, grandparents keep do this to their families, or the father will do this or something or the other, and children forget to notice the silver lining in the dark cloud. So what do you do? So first of all, you have to, like I said, appreciate and have gratitude for the small joys in your life which it offers daily. A call from a sister, brother, parents, friends, family. And if you've got a big family, then God bless you. It's the best thing to have, because people are so focused in their corporate worlds or in their jobs or in their careers and stuff, that everything seems like only work and career and pleasure or joy, which is supposed to be the balancing factor, disappears from their life. As a result of that, what happens? Parents are fighting, children are watching it, and they are succumbing to all that negativity at home and stuff. So what do? So you perceive that there's not always pain, but you tell your children that there's also joy, there's also happiness. And yes, you could look at AI to pass their time or help them kind of enjoy themselves and stuff, but the only way to do this is to spend a lot of time with their adults, who are parents, grandparents, and their teachers, friends, family. And as a conscious society or a community, it is very important to crucial the health of your children in your life. Get them a pet, give them a dog, make sure that they have good friends and stuff, because the holidays are going to start, so a lot of them are going to be home and stuff. And the reason I'm sharing is that I've been voicing and I've been saying that you got to stop this narrative which has been presented over the years by many leaders as well. Leaderships, when they are campaigning for votes or during elections, they try and bring mental health as a concern and stuff, but little do they understand that by only sharing about it, or only talking too much on mental health, the negative, and making the world look dark, and by sharing your stories in the form of books or videos and stuff, you can actually depress people. And when people are already feeling sad, how are your books and how are your videos helping them? So yesterday I was at an art show, and someone was feeling low, and we got talking, and she suddenly became happy. And she was like, I've seen so many hardships in life and stuff, and I'm very happy to meet you, because somewhere within me I'm also a very happy person. I said, so be happy. And the point is, I came from a rational that, see, you're already upset, you're already low, and if I start kind of misbehaving with you, if I start projecting onto you, or I keep sharing with you the unhappiness in lives, the trauma, the pain, the negativity, the fighting, the shouting, the physical abuse, the mental abuse, emotional abuse, what's going wrong with the world, the war and everything, you're going to get depressed and low. And this is not what human connection is all about. Human connection is all about feeling good, about feeling joyful, about feeling great, about being there for each other and stuff. So very important is to understand that when people are feeling low, you don't have to make them feel low. You got to make it in a way that they come out of it and they start feeling and appreciating the simple stuff in life, and not by just simply lecturing them or by just being constantly on their head and stuff. You just have to keep them engaged and make sure that they are in happier circles and in healthier circles and stuff. So if you yourself as a parent or an adult are addicted or are sharing, or even as an author or a leader or a TV personality or a celebrity, you constantly share about it and you make us talk only about trauma, pain, worry, and stuff. What is our energy going to be all about? What is our thought process going to be all about? What is our outlook going to be all about? And if people really want to kind of address their feelings, they can always do this in private. I don't get it. Why should people be doing it online? Are therapists supposed to be working in their offices? Aren't the psychologists supposed to be working in their offices? Are doctors supposed to be working in their offices? Why would you share such sadism or such unhappy situations from your lives or your clients' lives online and bring them down when people are already feeling low? If you really want to show that you care for the world and you genuinely want to be there for people, you got to make sure that you're sharing joyful stuff or happier stuff. And I've been privileged enough to be in various United Nations meetings and forums and stuff. Actually, the country's happiness level is of a big concern to people, as is the economic concern and stuff. So you can be happy and you can teach your children to be happy. You can teach your people around to be happy and stuff. And it doesn't happen by constantly bring the sad before them, the sadism before them, because it's more about you and it's not about them in that case then. So either you're suffering from some trauma or some issues yourself that you would do this to people, or you get kicks out of it or whatever. But the point is that it's nobody's job or nobody's business to make the world a miserable place. Why don't you try the opposite of happiness, joy, feeling good, feeling great, and absorbing what's good around you. So, on that note, here's a cheers. On the weekend, try and write down 10 or 20 things that make you happy, and try and help your children also identify things that make them happy. They don't have to be complicated. It can just be a chocolate, it can just be a walk, it can just be reading a book. It can just be you spending time with them. It doesn't have to be always very expensive. It can just be a phone call, an email, a video, a recording, an appreciation, or just a memory that you form with them, or some photographs you exchange, or going for a movie, or something like that. It doesn't have to be exorbitant all the time. So, the simple joys of life definitely help. So, try and include those and make it a mission, or make it a task, or make it a goal in your life to kind of spread joy and happiness, because what you really send out comes back to you in that case. So miserable people make other people feel miserable, and the opposite is also true. So work on it, and if you keep focusing on only the sadism, your life becomes definitely dark. But if you focus on the joy, the happiness, ecstasy, passion, feeling good, feeling great, then you know how it feels, and it rubs off on you. And then what is it? Your community also picks up on that, right? So love and luck and take care and have fun, have a blast. And this is a lesson that I've learned through experience on social media, following people. So my advice is also people who are on virtual forums or on social media or with various ministries, please try and have a control that sadism and negativity and unhealthy shares and everything is stopped ASAP, because the health of the children and women and men is extremely important in our country. So take care and have a blast. Bye bye. Cheers.